Good afternoon, everyone. Desperado here, and holy shit, this video has had something like 3, 4, 5 false starts. Okay, first, I wanted to stream, then everything died. So I said, okay, I'm just gonna have to record a video because things aren't coming back as fast. And then real life stuff got in the way, and then other problems. But finally, I get to do this. We are playing Flight Simulator, the new one, and this is my first time. I have bought this during the Steam Summer Sale, which was over a month ago at time of recording, and I just haven't played it. The reason was because I wanted to record my first time actually playing it. And now I finally have a chance. It's not real time, nor are we using real weather. One of these keys, there it is. One of these keys was external view. Okay. I have changed up my key commands from the default to basically match what they were in FSX with a few extra things, since this game does have more key command options included. So we are here at an airport I fly to frequently in the sim. You've seen my FSX videos. You know I come here all the time. This is 3 Juliet 6, Davis Field. Not too shabby. Default scenery is not too shabby. I must say, this simulator performs really well on my computer. Those of you, I know there's some people who watch my videos who haven't switched over to the new sim yet, and I honestly think you should definitely buy it because you're probably going to want to at some point. But even if you think your machine can't handle it, unless you know for sure it can't handle it, give it a try, because my machine is pretty much minimum spec for this game, and it still runs very well. It runs better than FSX does. Remember, I could get about 40 frames per second on FSX at this airport with clear skies on default planes. With default planes and clear weather at this sim, I get about 30, but it's more consistent. With FSX, the frame rate bounced all over the place, and there was no consistency between airports and locations. This game, 30 FPS all the time, no matter where I'm at. Now, I haven't really tested it at congested areas or high cloud draws yet, but the fact that I'm getting a consistent 30 through all my testing, all my benchmarking so far, is a good sign. And I'll even show you the performance monitor. You can see I got dev mode turned on up here. Let me find FPS real quick. And you can see it's not performing too bad. It's kind of bouncing back and forth between CPU and GPU limited. But overall, it's performing really well. Even for my, at this point, approaching 10-year-old PC, it's actually performing well. I'll put my system specs in the description of this video if you want to check it out. But now, obviously, 30 isn't as good as 60. And technically, FSX had better frame rate. But since FSX bounced around all the time, this one sits at a constant 30 no matter what. If you can't get a good frame rate like 60, then it needs to be able to do at least 30 consistently. We're going to be flying in the default Skyhawk, which I am really impressed by. This might be one of the best default planes I've ever seen. I also want to add that we're flying unmodded. I have not installed any mods. I haven't even installed any of the optional stuff from the marketplace yet. We are 100% stock as the game shipped. The only mod is this airport, which I made and haven't distributed yet. And all I did, really, was replace the default buildings with these hangars, because it didn't have the right... had the buildings in the right place and the right shape, but it drew them as like little warehouses and stuff where they're supposed to be hangars. So here we have the hangars like they're supposed to be now. And I've changed the runway numbers to match what they are in real life. The default was 1836. The current runway numbers are 119 here. No big deal. I learned to fly in a plane just like this. Cessna 172 SP with G1000 cockpit. And I have my checklist here from those days. We're going to skip the initial and the external stuff. We're going to go to the interior inspection, which is basically passenger brief, hobs, tack, and brake pedal test. We'll skip that one, actually, because All right, we're going to go straight up to the starting. Right, and we're going to look at oil pressure. We're in the green. Increase the throttle. Idle about 900 RPM. 900, so since we're in the deep south in the summer, so 900 works. If it was winter, we'd be using 1,000 RPM, and then we would move that in all the way. And then you can see my RPM just checked up. I'm gonna bring that out for taxi. Okay. Oil pressure's good. Amps, M&S battery are good and charging. Annunciators are cleared. Lights, I'm gonna flip the nav lights on. Mixture is leaned for taxi, and avionics 1 and 2 on. I have played around with some of the freeware head tracking. Hadn't quite gotten it to work yet. We're gonna be working on that some other time. We'll just be using mouse look today. Okay. I've noticed you can't turn the parking brake off by just activating the brakes like you could in FSX. You have to manually cycle that off, which I do like. No more accidental parking brake disengagements. Okay. We're gonna throttle up just a little bit. Really get the plane going across the ground. Bring weight off of the nose wheel. Gonna turn left just a little bit, which I actually want it to do. Oh, wow, look at that brightness. Let's not run over the ground crew who aren't even supposed to be there. This is an unattended airfield. I think I may have just took off his head. Let's not get too close to these buildings here. We'll throttle back a little bit to keep us going. I'm gonna go get it on the hard surface over here. There should be a little turnaround bay right here. All right, run up, brake set, fuel valve is on both. Trim, set for takeoff. Flight controls, I'm gonna go to an external view. We're gonna look at our flight controls. Full left, left goes up, right goes down. Full right, right goes up, left goes down. Elevator down, elevator up, and back to the pedals. Rudder left, and rudder right. Alrighty then. Flight controls good. No red X's on the PFD. Altitude selector, we're gonna be staying below 3,500. I'm gonna set altitude to, well, I want to stay low, so we'll stay at 1,000 feet. Yeah, we'll stay low at 1,000 feet, because who cares? We ain't got to worry about fuel prices. Alright, altimeter set, mixture to best power. At this field, this plane will be full rich. Standby instruments are set. Autopilot flight director is off. Throttle up to 1,800 RPM. Brakes are holding. Right mag or left. Good drop, back to both. Left mag. Good drop, back to both. It was 1,700 and then 1,710. That was a good drop between and not that big of a drop either. Vac indications are in the green. Engine indications, we are green across the board. Amps and volts are good. If I flip my landing light on, there's a brief drop. It really should come back up though, but that might not be working correctly. Annunciators, we have none. Throttle to full idle. Our engine should run rough but not die. Make sure our stop block is working. It runs a little rough. You can actually hear it running just a tad rough there. Alright, back to idle. Throttle, friction set, FMS, GPS, CDI to GPS, which is our nav source. Pre-takeoff. First, I'm going to figure out what runway we want to use. There's a windsock over here that I cannot see. Looks like it favors runway 1. There'll be a slight right crosswind, but it's like not even moving. Okay, so we're going to use runway 1 for our departure. Announce taxi. Select runway 1. Announce taxi. I love that we can have slope runways now. This runway in real life is actually pretty flat. There's a slight undulation to it. The side where we were just at is a little bit higher in elevation than the middle, but the two ends of the runway are at about the same elevation. So this runway is pretty much flat. We will be going very, very slightly downhill on this takeoff run. All right, and we have a turn bay all the way at the end here to turn around at. Sadly, the other end does not have that. All right, so for a short field takeoff, we're at 68 feet elevation. We'll just say 70 feet total. That's 170, so a 50-foot obstacle. Yeah, 120 feet. I'm just gonna round that up to 150, and we'll be clear the 50-foot obstacle at 150 feet. All right, so we'll take off, rotate at 55, pitch for 62 knots until clear of the 50-foot obstacle, which will be at 150, 200 feet. Pitch for VY, which will be 74 knots. I'll just say 75. Until we are 400 feet above the field. I want my flaps retracted at 400 feet above the field, which we'll say is 500 feet on the altimeter. All right. Holding the brakes. Throttle up to full. Engine's good, and release. Get line back up, crosswind correction. Looking for 55 knots. There it is, rotate. Pitch for 62. There's 150 feet, pitch for VY. There's VY, hold VY. Coming up on 400 feet, raise the flaps. Get ready for the nose drop. We'll maintain this heading until TPA, which is 1,100 feet. A little bit of nose up trim here. If I look behind us, we should be still aligned with the runway. I can't tell. Looks like we probably are. Right there's 1,000 feet. We'll bring our nose level. And we'll continue on this heading. Actually, no. This is a right pattern for this runway, so we can turn 45 degrees this way into the sun. And we've overshot our altitude a bit here. Bring throttle back to, let's say 2,400 RPM for now, because I want to level off and cruise at 1,000. And I want to get about 2 miles or so from the field. Gotta do something about that sun. Trim it for just a second here. Can I like lower this? No, I just have to deal with the sun in my face. Okay, we're gonna keep it low. And that is the city of Folkestone right there. Or town, I should say. Okay, we're gonna look for State Road 40, which runs to the east towards St. Mary's. Gonna be a bit hard to see, actually. Is that it? Runs to the east. It's 2-lane. Yep, that's it. It's 2-lane that goes to 4-lane just outside the city limits. All right, we're gonna turn this way. And we're gonna carefully follow this road. I'm going to hang on the right side of the road. For those of you who don't know, you follow roads on the right side for safety reasons. Follow up just a little bit to keep it at 2400. Yeah, so we should be coming up on those radio towers. They are north of the road, though. I don't think they're going to be there, sadly, since I know a lot of the radio towers are not in the sim, unfortunately, in the game. Wish they were. The throttle just dropped a bit. Road's curving a little to the south here. Yeah, they should be like right over there, I think. They're right in this area because that's a church down there, and we're starting to get to Kingsland. Fun fact: there's actually an airport in Kingsland. It's not in the game right now. I'll probably do a little bit of work to add that airport in, since I know it's essentially a brand new airfield. Well, it's not brand new, it's been there a while, but it only just got added to the charts. We're directly over the road right now. I think those radio towers are in that field down there in real life. I think. I don't know for sure. We might have passed them already. There's the road. Oh no, there's a road. What building is that? Oh, that's the school. Okay, that's the middle school there. Took me a second. So that's 40 right there. Yeah, we're getting into Kingsland. All right, the sun is still beaming down our eyes. I'm going to avoid following the road now because, well, I'll still follow it for a little bit here. Where's the rest of the city? Well, I might be lost. No. That's got to be I-40 right there. Not I-40. State Road 40. It's running eastbound. I'm closer to the river than I should be. Kingsland's over there. You see what can happen? Hold on, I want to go fly over that. You see what can happen? Once that road ran into town, I completely lost sight of it. Roads are, I've mentioned this in a video in the past, roads are actually harder to see from the air than you might realize when you're in wooded areas like this. Out in the desert, I'm sure they're easy, but yeah, around here, not so easy, no. Okay. Now this area, wait a minute. Oh my God. This is photogrammetry. That's the Walmart right there. We're flying right over the hospital right now. Yeah, that was the Walmart. And there's a couple of car dealerships. And then Willie Jewell's Barbecue is down there too. It's a great restaurant, highly recommended. This is photogrammetry. This isn't autogen. Might explain why the frame rate, it seems to have gotten a bit stuttery. What's my altitude? A little too high. I didn't know this town had photogrammetry. Why this town? I knew Jacksonville had photogrammetry because I had done some benchmarking down there, but apparently it extends all the way up to here. Yep, there's storage. There's the Lowe's. Hold on a minute. Where is the... There's the Lowe's. Is that the Starbucks? Because that's a new building. Yeah, there should be 3 restaurants back to back right there. Off of my wingtip. I think that is Sonny's, Ops, and Longhorns. Yeah, and there's the gas station and the hotel and the ice cream shop. And the McDonald's and the Dairy Queen. Well, it's not a Dairy Queen now, but it was at one point. What's my altitude? I'm gonna pull back just a little bit. This is all photogrammetry. This is actually how it looks. So hold on a second. I need to look. Yeah, that's the Sunny's right there. That building right there is Sunny's. That's a little mall, a little strip mall. And then that's the Lowe's. Now past the Lowe's, let me go to external view. There's Publix. They don't have it yet. There should be a Tractor Supply. I think in that field right there is a Tractor Supply. Doesn't look like they have it. And there's the Walmart again. There should be a gas station there. That gas station was built in like 2020. So this was pre-2020. Okay, given how our departure airfield looked with its runway numbers, and the fact that we're missing both the Tractor Supply and the gas station, that should be right there and there, I'm gonna guess that this scenery is around 2019, which is more recent than I thought it would be. Flying directly over the airfield now. I see runway 22's threshold. We're going to fly directly over the runway. Wind's pushing us a little bit to the left here. All right, we're going to go about 3/4 of a mile down here, and then we'll turn onto the traffic pattern leg. Turn direct left, right onto downwind. Right now. I'll go ahead and announce we are on downwind. All right, we're beating the numbers, and we'll pull my throttle out to 1500 RPM. First notch of flaps below 110, flaps 10. I'll let the nose drop, start descending. I'm gonna turn base now. Oop, that's the wrong button. Oop, shit. Too low. All right, flaps 20. Go ahead and turn on the final. A little bit too low here. Start pitching for 65 knots. This is our first landing 500 in the sim, and I need a little nose up trim. All right, power for altitude, pitch for airspeed. All right, flaps to full. Wind's pretty much down the runway, so we're fine there. It's a slight left crosswind, but no big deal. Getting down into the low altitude where it's getting bumpy, all that air coming off the trees in every which direction. Yep, that's how it should be. Big bump there. we're over nice open airfield. It's nice and smooth. We're on the round out. Flare. Now it wants to float forever. Yep, that's a Skyhawk for you. We're down gently. We're back on the center line here. Flaps up. Full power. Rotate. Tap the brakes to stop the wheels. Pitch for 75. Nice little touch and go. 400 feet, flaps are up, power is set. So I feel like, how should I put this? I feel like it doesn't climb as good as the real plane does. That's a left pattern here, so we're gonna fly all the way up to TPA, which is 1,000 feet. And then we'll turn 45 degrees to the left, start heading back to Craig. Yeah, I feel like I gotta nose up quite a bit. Like a 10 degrees nose up pitch to maintain VY. I feel like the real airplane didn't quite need that much. Turn 45 to the left. I mean, I'm not saying the physics are bad, because they're not. The plane flies really well. It's definitely better than the default Skyhawk and FSX. But I feel like it's not quite what the real one had. It's almost like the engine isn't putting out as much power as the real one does. Now, I did give it a 3% wear and tear. That may have something to do with it, although that really, yeah, I mean, that'll give us like 3% induced drag, I think is what the thing said. All right, we're leaving Fernandina Beach. That. Oh, straight in. Okay. All right, we'll just head straight for the airfield then, which I see the airport off our nose here. Right about there. Yeah, something's fracked with the weather. I set the weather at KJAX, and I figured all the stations around here would have the same one. That's a bit early. I mean, we're not even in position yet, but okay. We're below 110, flaps 10. Let's see if we can make this landing a little bit better than it was in Fernandina. It was soft in Fernandina, but we floated a bit far. Although this plane does like to float. In real life it does. Especially during the summer, you can have hot air rising off of the runway. It floats. It does. It's a floater. Yeah, that tower's way too big. All right, flaps to 20. The glare on the window. Turn final. We'll maintain about 70, 75 knots for now until we get a little closer. I know the Pappy says we're on glide slope, but I don't think we are. want to keep it. I want to be just slightly above glide slope, if you don't mind. Yep, this is South Florida in the summer. Bumpy as fuck. I say South Florida. North Florida. Florida in general. Florida and South Georgia are like this. They're just bumpy as hell during the summer, especially at low altitude. Again, it's all the air hitting those trees and coming up at every which direction. And they model that in this game. So yeah, I have flown to this airport, to this runway, and it's been this bumpy before. All right, I'm gonna dump the flaps now. We're inside the wide arc. Power for altitude, pitch for airspeed. Altitude is good. I'm gonna pull the power back. We can nose down a bit to maintain 65. Oh, we got ground services running around here. And of course, you get right over the field where it's nice and flat. It smooths out. All right, rounding it out, rounding it out, rounding it out. The power is out. And we just want to bleed off all that energy. It's a floater, as we've established. Well, not bad. Might be able to make this first turn off. I can. That is not taxiway alpha, though. That should be like Bravo 2 or something. You only got one stick, curiously enough. Right here. Bravo back to idle. I gotta do something about these rudders. Rock and brake. All right. Avionics, 1 and 2 off. Yep, that comes back like it should. Lights, taxi and nav off, and mixture. Key disappears. Engine shuts off. Magnetos. Clear this. Lights off. Master off. And standby battery off. And just like that, the flight is complete. So, overall first impressions. Been a while since I've flown any sim, really. Overall first impressions, though, I like it. I definitely love that it performs really well. I love the lighting. I think there's a few things here or there that I'm kind of iffy on. Some of it is just stuff, you know, I've been used to how FSX does things. And others is just, I just got to get used to it in this sim. And I'll probably come to like it eventually. Others is stuff I'm not too keen on. Like you saw the ground services at the departure airfield when there didn't really need to be. It's an unintended field. Anyway, I like this. I like it a lot. I like the way it performs. I like the way it looks, the way it feels. Overall, the plane flew good. It's kind of hard to judge that on one flight, and especially when we stayed at low altitude the whole time, and it was kicking our butt. The turbulence was really bumpy. A few more flights, and I'll be able to gauge, you know, how good the plane is. I do think it's a little off compared to the real one. Not that big a deal, though. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.